on being both more and responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of the students and our community schools to advance the vision for our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Want me to start?
Sure, you go for it.
All right. Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm my commitment to the oath of office. I swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 485 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm my commitment to the oath of office. I swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 485 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm my commitment to the oath of office. I swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of this state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of the school board member of Independent School District number 485 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Thank you. Welcome. New members.
Congratulations.
Welcome to the
It's
team.
official.
4 years.
Go.
So now we can do roll call. Let the roll call show all members, except for Director Hosted, are present in the room. Director Hosted is joining us virtually. We can't see him, but I think he can see all of us.
I am here.
You hear him? There we
Yeah,
go.
there he is. Oh, there he is. Perfect. All right, so then we will look for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Thanks. So we are looking, so we will approve the motion was made by Director Hackett to approve the agenda, seconded by Director Roaring. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstain? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, so now we'll move on to election of officers. First is chairperson. Do we have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Ryan Hosted.
Any other nominations? Okay, Director Hofstad has been nominated for chairperson. Do we need to do roll call on these, or can I just be? Okay, clerk, can you please call the roll?
Can you hear the nomination? Yeah, I think you would.
Director Hofstad,
Do you?
you want to know? if
Yes,
nominees? Yes, okay. And I believe that if you're gonna do it really, we'll move to close nominations.
Close nominations for chairperson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now we do a roll call.
Okay, Do we have Ryan?
Yeah,
Or do
Ryan
I
should.
call it? Okay,
Ryan Colvin.
all right, Director Hofstad, you can call roll, please.
All right, Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Roaring,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Trout,
Aye.
and Director Hofstad, aye.
Sure, chairperson is now elected 6-0. Congratulations. Do I keep going or just you? Since you've left?
I think you didn't ask him if he wants
I'll
to.
take over.
All right. I don't know where should I.
This is the speaker.
Director Hofstad, Chairperson Hofstad, do you want to take over the meeting or would you like me to continue?
Please continue.
Okay. Now we will move on to nominations for vice chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Director Bauman.
Okay, I will accept. I close the nominations.
You're running. you
Oh my
decide how-
gosh.
How formal or how informal it should be,
Informal.
so.
All right, Director Hofstad, can you call roll?
Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Roaring,
Aye.
Director Trout,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Hofstad, aye.
Passes 6-0, so vice chairperson is Director Bauman. Now we will move to nominations for clerk position. Any nominations?
I'll nominate Director Roaring.
Okay, Director Roaring, you accept? Yep. Perfect. Director Hofstad, can you call roll?
Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Roaring,
Aye.
Director Trout,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Hofstad, aye.
Passes 6-0. Director Roaring will be our clerk. We'll look for nominations for treasurer.
I'll nominate Maria Trout.
Okay, I accept.
You don't have to feel like you're getting thrown to the wolves. It's okay.
Treasurer's not my strong suit, but we'll go after it.
And Director Trout, you accept?
Yep.
All right, Director Hofstad, can you call roll?
Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Roaring,
Aye.
Director Trout,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Hofstad, aye.
Passes 6-0. Director Trout will be our treasurer. We'll move on to organizational action items, 7A, setting of regular meeting time and dates. So the past year, the board held 12 regular meetings. The board has routinely scheduled these special meetings for board evaluation, superintendent evaluation, contract negotiations, and other occasions as needed. And then we also scheduled work sessions as needed. The board has this last year met on the fourth Monday of the month at 6 p.m. We cannot hold a meeting on legal holidays. Agendas have been sent out on the Wednesday or before prior to the regular meetings. I do have some dates over here that we can't have meetings on. So as we kind of look at this, and I think everybody has a calendar. So as we look at that, you can kind of peek at what we have there. I guess, does 6 o'clock work for everybody? Is that a good starting time?
Works for me.
Everybody? Okay, so we'll keep that for our starting time.
Does that still work for you, Ryan?
Absolutely.
So as far as the dates we want to do with them on. I don't know if we want to keep with the Monday, if we want to look at,
I'd like to do the fourth Monday again, let that work. Except for December.
Okay, so fourth Monday.
so, and December would have to be earlier because of truth and taxation.
February won't work. February.
No, February.
Why doesn't February?
February.
February work, the
27th
27th.
is the one.
Oh, the 27th.
It's like, yeah, in December.
Do we have the truth and taxation date? You know, okay. Oh, okay.
In the past. Yeah, I would think like the 11th would be, it's usually about that weekish. Somewhere in that week is usually, so if we did December 11th, that would be,
The 11th.
for the December one.
Copy,
Oh, okay.
I'm cheating.
Does that not, does that not work for anybody?
Yep, Michelle's- yeah.
So I remember we had to move truth and taxation last time because of the concerts. So I think originally we had it on a Monday and then we moved it to a Tuesday because it was hard to squeeze in the band and
But I
choir.
wonder if we just leave it for now, and if we run into
Okay.
that, we move it closer to that time.
Okay.
Because I can get with Tony Newman now ahead of time and maybe.
Okay.
Depending on, because we don't know about basketball schedule.
Yep.
Gyms, anything.
But good.
I've never seen a calendar where they did run into
Right, something.
a holiday when you pick up like that. That's cool.
Just jotting them down. Give me-
Yeah, then you want to read them out.
Yep, I will.
So then are we gonna have another one January, or this is January meeting,
No, we'll have our
a
regular.
regular meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
So Lucas, this is organizational meeting. So all townships, school boards, all elected officials have to have this meeting within. The first couple weeks.
Yeah, this meeting. we have-
Yeah, I mean, it's really not supposed to be a lot of other business other than just the organizational structure.
Okay,
So that's why it's usually just getting your feet wet and setting the committees and stuff.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read off the dates if you want to follow along, just to make sure I didn't screw up and put in a wrong one. So we have the regular meeting time at 6 o'clock PM and the 2023 dates for January 23rd, February 27th, March 27th, April 24th, May 22nd, June 26th, July 24th, August 28th, September 25th, October 23rd, November 27th, and then December 11th due to truth and taxation. I'll go ahead and motion to approve.
I'll second that.
The motion to approve is made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Hackett. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All abstained. Motion carries 6-0. We will move to 7B. Setting of compensation for directors. Current compensation is $2,500 a year per board member. The chairperson receives an additional $500 year stipend. Half of the amount will be given in June of 2023. and January of 2024. Please note the dates on the agenda, are just off a year. Any discussion?
That's still working out with payroll. Yes. I'm moving it to those dates. Yeah.
I'll move it for discussion.
For discussion or for approval?
For approval.
Oh.
Just moving it forward so we can talk about it, that's all. If anybody's got anything to say.
Seems to be working. I mean, that was just recently changed, right?
Yeah, we did a per meeting thing, but then, so like. Sometimes we have multiple meetings, or, so then is that one meeting, is that two meeting, and it, I don't know. This just seemed to be a lot easier thing. We were spending more money. Trying to figure out how much to pay the directors and what they were getting paid, that's, yeah, it was eating up payroll for that.
Yeah, it's
so-
much easier to do payroll, which is
Sure.
doing it twice.
So. I don't know, everybody was fine with that last year, that was a good move, so.
I like it. Second, your motion approved.
Motion to approve, remain or keeping our compensation the same as last year. Motion was made by Director Hackett, seconded by Director Roaring. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 17, naming of the official depositories for district funds. Scott Marine, Pine Country Bank, Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund, and Minnesota Trust PMA as official depositories for Royalton School District. So those are who we currently have. Any discussion?
So. Do I need to make any changes moving from treasurer to clerk? I see both are on there.
Yep.
Do I have to go to the bank?
I don't know. I'll have to double check. On whether your title changed. I have a feeling it will. Because I think you'll have to sign as. know.
I had talked to them
A lot of paper.
at one time about whether it was all necessary, because we actually only changed. One officer and everybody had to re-sign. And I think they're just stuck with, they have to generate the paperwork and have it on file, so yeah.
Just like we have to print all of this exactly how it's stated, and then you have to print exactly like this in the notes, which normally you don't do that in meeting notes, but we have to, or they won't accept it. Which is
remember
why
that
it took,
last year.
yeah, it took 90 days practically to get it all.
So you'll be going to the bank to sign some paperwork. That's what that means. Okay. Not too bad.
Yeah, I voted, what do we do for the effective date? Is it as of today then?
Yeah, I would say so.
Clerk right now is Ryan.
No, I mean the new one.
Oh, Angela.
Angela.
Do this all on one motion and.
So roaring has changed. So this language has to change, Michelle, because it says roaring school board clerk and Scott Marine business manager shall continue to be, but the clerk has changed.
Mhm.
So we'll just say Scott Marine business manager shall continue to be authorized signers, and we will change the school board treasurer. And
What's this removing?
so who was our prior treasurer?
I would.
Roaring,
Mhm.
effective today. And adding Hofstad, school board chair, and Trout. School board treasurer as authorized signer, and Roaring as clerk. So we have to add Roaring
Ryan have to be removed as
Yeah,
clerk.
I'm gonna add that on
Yep.
there.
That's okay, because as long as the meeting minutes reflect all this exactly right, then we're gonna be fine. So
Okay,
this won't get changed until after January 23rd's meeting, because we have
We
to
have to approve it.
approve the minutes of this meeting on that.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm gonna read. Motion to approve Scott Moran, Pine Country Bank, Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund, and Minnesota Trust PMA as official depositories for Royalton School District Fund. And also to include updating authorized signers on the district's official depository accounts and all certificates of deposit by removing Russ Garrett's prior school board chair and Angela Roying, prior school board treasurer, and Ryan Hosted, prior school board clerk, effective January 10th, 2023, and adding Ryan Hosted, school board chair, and Maria Trout, school board treasurer, and Angela Roaring, school board clerk, as authorized signers on behalf of the district, January 10th, 2023, and Scott Marine, business manager, shall continue to be authorized signers on behalf of the district.
I'd like to
Can I
move
get
that
a
for
second?
adoption.
Second,
All right, motion to approve was made by Director Hackett, seconded by Director Trout. Any further discussion?
I think you did a very good job.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So an aye. Abstain. Motion carries 6-0.
Alright.
All right, 7D, investment for funds.
Point of order, we need to approve a depository. Royalton Bank, right?
I said that.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I read both of them.
Oh, okay, all right, good. I guess.
No, that's good,
All right,
just to make sure.
I'm just making sure, yeah, because otherwise we're gonna have to redo it, so.
Yeah, no, I read both
You're
sections.
good, you're good.
Okay, 7D, investment for funds. So Scott Marine, business manager, invest funds on behalf of the Royalton School Board, or the school district. Discussion. I don't know, do you want to maybe, for the new members, just let them know what that means, I guess, exactly?
Basically, what happens is your business manager in any of your school districts is gonna be your money person, so they're gonna handle any of your investment accounts. We in this district happen to have some CDs, so if we were to ever do something with those differently, they're gonna be the ones that sign on that and manage all of that for us and work with the banks. So for all of this one that you just approved, this current one for investment, and then the making electronic transfers, that's in order for us to conduct payroll. So there are times where it's $1.5 million gets moved from one account to another in order to make payroll. That person has the authority, that position has the authority to do that. And so now we elect, we just make that known again, that it's that person. That person in that role.
And then I believe if anything is done with our CDs, the treasurer is notified because additional signatures are required, so.
For sure.
Also comes into effect if you do any of that, like when we did the building and
Yeah, if you were to do some sort of bonding
Bonding-
project and
bonding
have to get all
projects.
those things taken care of,
and
that's.
it has to be right too, because then other people are looking at it.
Right,
And Scott Moran doesn't work in the building, right?
correct,
He
he's on
works-
site
He's offsite. Where's his office?
in Byron, Minnesota. Near
So he's
Rochester.
through
Oh,
the
Southern.
SMS.
School
that we
management
contract
services.
out with.
Okay,
So
Got it.
he's technically employee of them, but we've contracted their services, so he's assigned to
We
us.
still have to name an
We still
official.
have to
Right.
name an official person.
and that was Scott at the Truth Taxation
Yes.
meeting? Okay,
Yeah.
so I did have a chance to meet him. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got any questions? Just don't be afraid to stop the meeting and ask if you don't understand something, because it's a lot.
right,
So, and that goes for the first however long until you don't have, I still have questions. I always figure out if you're thinking it and you got the balls to ask, there's somebody else that's thinking it too. So it's just a good thing to ask. So
I'll make the motion to approve Scott.
I'll second it.
All right, motion to approve Scott Marine, business manager to invest funds on behalf of the Royalton School District was made by Director Rory and seconded by Director Hackett. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
I,
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0.
I'm right.
then I'll say it and then, like, Siri, call Scott, Marine.
Sunday.
I have the Indian accent. Rajesh.
Annual delegation of authority to make electric fund transfers. So the auditor requires the board to designate someone to make electric fund transfers. The business manager has been assigned to do this in the past. Delegate the authority to make the electric fund transfers to, which would be Scott Marine, business manager. This is kind of what we were just talking about as well.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve, to delegate the authority to make electric funds transfers. Scott Marine, business manager. Motion was made by Director Hackett, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7F. Naming of official newspaper. So in the past, we've used the Morrison County Record. Other discussion on this?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve the Morrison County Record as the official newspaper. This motion was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Trout. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7G, naming of legal counsel. Currently, we have Rupp, Anderson, Squires, and Waldsberger, PA as our official law firm for the district.
How did that come to be? Like, is there a pool of
There's
law firms
basically
that work
three,
for school?
yep, there's about 3 out there, 2 for sure that I know of. And this is one of them,
Okay,
and they've been with us for a while and they've done a great job.
sure.
and they're located where?
In the cities,
Okay.
it's kind of interesting though, because Attorney Rupp, the one that started it, he's just retired. He is actually from Comfrey, Minnesota. And so this whole law firm, I feel like somehow is like connect, because my husband is from that area, so they have like, the family names. And then one of their, now that's how old I am, one of their lawyers' dad went to college with me. Shh, no. And then another one's lawyer that's theirs mother, or his, when he was in school, one of my friend's mother taught him in school, so it's like, almost feels like family. That's weird. He's from Mountain Lake.
They're in the cities. There's been times where they've come up. If they have to do something in person, they make
Sure.
a trip up here.
As far as it goes, as long as I've been on the board, they seem to handle all our legal things, so I would think they're. I suppose it's a specialty deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve Rupp, Anderson, Squires, and Waldsberger, PA as the official law firm for the district. This motion was made by Board Member Roaring and seconded by Board Member Boyd. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. We will go on to 7H, naming of representatives and committee members. So first up is Royalton City Council.
I have a question before we get
Yeah.
started. Are we able to do like all of the committees? Instead of motioning on each individual one, can we do a motion at the end?
Like, can we update this and say here, read them off and then just motion to approve all of them?
Yeah, for all of them, get to the bottom versus motioning every single time. Or do we have to motion every single
Motion
time?
H.
Yeah, if we
We
just
did
did,
that last, well, I guess we.
We
kept
didn't
them the
change
same.
any, yeah.
yeah,
I'm-
but can we go through all of them and then make one giant motion at the end? No, is that too messy?
Yeah,
I feel like it might be.
I think the
I think
the
we-
thing is this is one of those sticky meetings that I think you should follow the rules. About the loosest I think you can get is, I think your chairperson can kind of read it out and just. People can throw their names in. You know, to fill in the blanks and, you know, but I like your
Okay.
thought, but I think you should really just approve them one at a time.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so we'll start with H1, Royalton City Council. I can be primary on this one.
Madam Chair. So the new members, you guys realize what we're doing here? For
Volunteering
sure.
for committees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you think, if it's something that you want, you know, just throw your name in and if you know, we're all gonna have to take some things we don't want to, so.
Sure.
So, but just, yeah, the things that, I mean, because you have ideas of things that you want to work on. That's why you ran for the school board, so you should try to get on the committees that are trying to deal with things that you want to deal with, so.
And
So-
also finance policy. Mid-state are probably the three that regularly. Have like monthly meetings.
Yeah, you probably don't want to be on.
Some of the other
Finance
ones are
and
just here and
policy.
there, some-
Them are the two that you probably want to be one or the other, that's.
Am I committed to one or the other because of being treasurer?
No,
To be
no,
on
no,
finance?
no,
Recommend.
It's recommended.
I don't know, I've never been treasurer, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's recommended the treasurer is on the finance committee,
Okay.
and it's a once a month meeting.
Good.
You'll like it. You don't have to do,
I'm sorry.
you
ma'am.
just listen and give information. But yeah.
So if we could
I
get,
could be an alternate for that one.
I move Bowman and Roaring.
I'll second it.
We had just.
okay, motion to approve Royalton School District at Royalton City Council meeting. Motion was made by Director Hackett, seconded by Director Boyd. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H2, naming of Bullis City Council meeting representatives.
So I would like to do that one. Since I'm already kind of there at some of them anyways, so.
Perfect.
In the past, there's not been an alternate to that.
It's not like they.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It's only if they need to.
I'll throw my name as alternate. I'll motion to approve.
Second it.
Motion to approve Royalton School District at Bullis City Council meeting. Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Boyd. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Denied. Abstained. Motion carries 6-0. Then H3, naming of policy committee representatives.
Director Hackett would like to be on policy committee.
Hofstad as well.
The past week had 3.
This should be 3 because
I'll volunteer.
I'm gonna motion to approve Director Hackett, Director Hofstad, and Director Trout as policy committee representatives.
I'll second.
Motion to approve policy committee representatives. Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H4, naming of strategic planning, curriculum advisory, and world's best workforce advisory committee representatives.
I'm volunteering. We have 2 on the center.
we have 2 already.
We both said it at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
I only heard one. My hearing's crap, so.
Yeah, well, but
Motion approved. I'll second it.
Motion to approve Director Roaring and Director Trout as the members of the Strategic Planning Curriculum Advisory World's Best Workforce Advisory Committee representatives. Motion was made by Director Boyd, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, sorry.
Opposed or approved?
No, I'm approving.
Approve?
I
Okay.
wasn't in the eye for the approving, sorry.
Okay, all those opposed?
I was on to the next one already.
Abstained. Motion carries 6-0. 7H5, naming of facilities committee representatives. I'll put myself on there.
Be on that. Director Hackett.
I'll motion to approve Director Bauman and Director Hackett as facilities committee representatives.
okay.
Motion to approve facilities committee representatives. Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H6, naming of legislative liaison representatives.
Director Hackett.
I can do that one.
We should look down this here again.
Hmm?
Show it down there. I can see it.
Yeah, I'm getting the dates now. To
Bonus and serve it.
Second.
Motion to approve Director Hackett and Director Boyd as legislative liaison representatives was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Trout. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H7, naming of finance committee representatives.
I will do that.
And I guess I will.
Should have it in. Do we have that there? Yeah.
Should have 3 there.
You mean,
Sorry.
Ross.
I'll try myself on that one. Keep it rolling.
Motion approved.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve Director Roaring, Trout and Bauman as finance committee representatives. Motion is made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H8, naming of Mid-State Education District Board Representative.
So this is, yeah, I want to talk about this. So this is another board that, our member districts of mid-state, so it's gonna be Pierce, Upsala, Swanville, Onemia, and Royalton. Each has a board member. And that sits on this particular board. It meets monthly, and that's where they're approving of paying bills and other things. It's all around special education. They are our special education provider. However, they do give us technology support and early childhood family education support. So it is a commitment, and it's something that I think is pretty important.
Yeah.
Especially with what we've had some different kinds of situations that it's really important that this is taken seriously
They get a big chunk of our money
a lot.
and. Not saying that, it just, we need somebody somebody there that's going to be there to help watch. I mean, so. That's each of the schools needs somebody there. That's why the board is there, so.
Do we know when they meet, or are they
Yes,
in the
so
process of setting?
They will be setting their meetings, but more than likely, they will probably stick to the similar schedule that they've had, and that's been Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And they generally last about an hour.
Are they in person, or
They're in person over at Midstate.
Okay.
Where's
Which is in
that at?
Little Falls.
I'm gonna be honest, that's gonna be tough for me to make a 4 o'clock meeting
Yeah.
on Wednesday. It's-
You can put Hofstad on that.
Thank you, Director Hofstad.
Then we need an alternate.
He's chairperson. Did we want?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
I could be an alternate.
okay, perfect.
Wednesdays once a month.
Yeah.
Right?
And that would only, if you're alternate, that'd only be if.
Only if-
Yeah, you would
Director
not.
Hofstad
Yeah,
can
you
go.
could.
That's cool.
Cool, thank you, Ryan. I will motion to approve Director Hofstad and then Director Trout as alternative for Mid-State Education District representatives.
I can second that.
Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Boyd. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H9, naming of Minnesota State High School League representative.
So what does that all entail?
Very little to if anything. It's basically, we have to have a board member that is, it would be a committee if there were something that were to come up and they're in a meeting that they need to have those member board. The members attend, they would do it. It'd have to be like an emergency kind of thing. If anything, it's just showing that you know what we're doing and we're following their guidelines. And our activities director is, in place and doing what he or she needs to do. It's really like, no commitment. Like,
I think there was one meeting and
maybe. Was
in
it
the
was
last
the-
8 years.
Was it because of the football thing?
I've been at the last 2 years and I haven't had.
Yeah.
was a Title IX,
Oh, Title IX.
Title IX.
Issue,
thing,
okay.
yeah.
Well, I can put my name on there. If
Okay.
something comes up, I'm fine with it. Yeah, that's fine.
And then I can be your alternate.
I thought there was more to it being the Minnesota State High School. We had a lot of stuff going on all the
They,
time.
correct, they're really busy,
Right.
but right now what they've done is they've assigned 2 superintendents to their board, which is a good thing, and then they have other. ADs and such on their board, so their actual governing board is quite a bit smaller.
Okay.
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Motion to approve Director Boyd, and then Director Bauman as alternative to Minnesota State High School League representative. Motion was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H10. Naming of representatives to schools for equity and education.
What does that do? What's that committee?
So basically, that's an association that we are a part of. We used to be a part of MREA, which is Minnesota Rural Education Association, and I guess under the previous superintendent, they moved to Schools of Equity and Education. And what they do is they advocate at the legislature for funding for schools. Their priority in their advocacy work is to help with taxpayer equity. So in rural parts of Minnesota, they've done a pretty good job of making that a bit more equitable. So if you're a farmer and have a lot of land, that first 40% of that land doesn't get taxed for schools, so giving them a little bit of a break. What's happened now is, an example would be, if you live in St. Cloud, you have a lot of businesses there that help offset your tax base. So when the taxes happen for property and such, that business, commercial, take up some of that cost for those residents. When you're in a locked area like Royalton, we have very few businesses, and the likelihood of those increasing aren't very strong. It costs our homeowners quite a bit more to raise the same amount of money. So basically, it could cost our taxpayers to raise, I'm gonna give you fake numbers. You're gonna raise $1,000. It could take, in some cases, I'll give you an example, Hopkins compared to Robbinsdale, it's twice the cost to the resident of a Robbinsdale person than it is Hopkins, because Hopkins has all of that commercial base. It'd be a similar type of, I don't have the exact percentage, but there'd be a similar type of inequity when it comes to how it works for St. Cloud and how it works for Royalton. And so they strive to get that equalized. So in other words, when you're gonna go out and work and get some sort of tax base from your property owners, they're saying you need to come back through with state aid to offset that high cost for our taxpayers, so we can still raise those same dollars.
It's a lobbyist, is what it is. It's
Advocates.
it's a lobbyist. Anyhow, it's all the schools that are part of it, they're not all the same size,
No,
but
Royalton.
they're all, there's big schools and small schools, but the thing they have in common is just because you're born in Royalton or you go to school in Royalton, a kid shouldn't get a different amount of funding because they're in Royalton, and when you go to Sartell and they had the paper mill, they got all that funding from the paper mill, that's the kind of, that's what she's trying to do with the Robbinsdale thing, but that's ours around here. All the schools around here were struggling, and Sartell just had all the money in the world for years, because they had the paper mill, and it's not fair just because you're landlocked or you're where you are that's what this group advocates for. And they've done the board referendums that we do, the tax referendums, are direct work from this group. The board approved levies are directly from,
So when we have when we have levies that we actually take, when we use, we levy our taxpayers here to raise dollars, or state aid that we also get. So if you don't levy, you also don't get your aid. They work heavily to ensure that happens, but there are other types, like a lease levy, you aren't gonna get any state aid for. So it is good work. Another thing they do is they also advocate for more dollars on the formula. So for example, the formula right now is not tied to inflation. We have very high inflation, so your dollar's worth less. So when they say 2%, it never equals out to 2%. When they say, oh, we've given you 2%, that's so wonderful, it actually comes to about 1% because it only comes to your general fund. Doesn't come to any of the other dollars. So those are the kinds of things that this group does and advocates for, is to ensure that our students get what they need.
Is this just a volunteer? This is just a group that we volunteer to be in, or we like
We pay,
pay to be part of
Yeah.
them? Oh, I see.
and I attend meetings, generally they're all, I've only attended virtually. They're usually in like the cities and it's just too much to get there, so I generally attend virtually and it's worked out fine.
So these aren't meetings, like monthly meetings that. 'Cause my thing is
No.
I can't, it's hard to be part of something that meets at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, this would just mean more about if board members want to go during, now we're starting our legislative session, and so if board members want to come down to the Capitol, we have a day at the Capitol where we'll go in and talk with all of the representatives for us, for all these different school districts that are represented, and tell them what our platform is. We have a board approved platform that we advocate for them to support. So Minnesota Association of School Administrators will be down there. The principals associations are generally represented. AMSD is generally there, MREA is there, and the Minnesota Rural Education Association. So we call them the education cartel. They're all down generally at the same time or at similar times to try to get legislators to understand what our asks are.
Is there a date set for that yet? You said there's a.
There is,
Early March.
I just don't know for sure exactly what it is yet, and MASSA's trying to coordinate another one, so they're in March for sure. And you don't have to go, I mean, I go, and it's just if it's of interest, or
Dr. Hackers to do this.
heck it.
I can do it. I mean, that's fine. Yeah.
I'll motion to approve Director Hackett and Director Boyd as representatives for 2 schools for equity and education.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Director Hofstad?
I was an I, the internet's slow here.
Perfect. Motion carries 6-0. 7H11, naming of labor management, meet and confer representative.
We do have a meeting scheduled for this Thursday. So whoever wants to be on this, will be available
I am going to,
at 3:15.
I would,
Or 3:20.
I would not like to be on this, being married to a teacher. I just don't want any conflict.
I think you should be.
Like, cut the line there, so I'm gonna take myself off that one.
Director Hackett will do this.
Oh, and then the next one's just an alternative, so if for some reason Director Hackett could not make it.
Sure.
Give you puppy dog eyes.
Yep. I would do it. All right, I'm gonna motion to approve Director Hackett and then Director Roaring as alternate. To meet and confer representatives.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Boyd. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Same. Motion carries 6-0. 7H12. Naming of staff development committee representative.
I can do that one.
Like I did it last time, so I can do it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Director Boyd to approve Director Hofstad and Roy as Staff Development Committee representatives. Motion was seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Abstain or opposed? Abstained. Motion carries 6-0. 7H13, naming of Health and Safety Committee representatives. I would like to put myself on this one.
That entail.
So it was really basic. There were, we tried to plan a meeting. It never came to fruition, but it was just a few emails, just about different things going on around the building, more updates. So there wasn't really a whole lot to it. I've been on it the last 2 years and that was really,
Kind of like OSHA stuff and everything compliance with environmental requirements and such.
like, I always try to, like, around this time, like, there's emails about like snow and be careful of this and that, and just being on the committee, it's kind of nice to see those that, you know, things are being looked at.
Alternate, I can do the alternate. Unless Angela wanted. She was on it last year, so. I don't wanna jump
All
in.
you. Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve Directors Bauman and Boyd as Health and Safety Committee representatives was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H14, naming of Sourcewell representatives.
I'd like to do that.
Is that two more?
Yeah,
It does.
we should.
Says you were alternate last year.
Do you want to,
I don't have to. Somebody else wants to.
I'll throw myself on this.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion for Directors Trout and Bauman as Sourcewell representatives. Motion was made by Director Boyd, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H15, naming of non-union negotiation representatives. So we need 2, and then we do need 1 as an alternate. Yeah, as we get into these negotiation ones, these do take up some time. You only do them once, well,
Every 2 years.
every 2
The
years.
contract cycle.
So,
Well, 3 years.
There might be somebody on and off. year.
Yeah, non-union, yeah.
2-year length of it.
Is
Is that-
it non-union, do they have contract as well?
Yeah,
But
we
non-union.
do. It's more of an agreement than it is a contract and it's a negotiation out of courtesy. We're not required to, obviously, because they're not a union. So
Oh, just some history, so the non-union employees have kind of, over the years, just kind of got what was left,
Right,
which hasn't been fair.
that's why I kind of want to be on that one, but I want to know.
So that's the history of it,
Yep.
and administration, the prior administration and this administration have made huge steps. Huge steps to try to right some wrongs that, you know, I don't know. You know, you get into the negotiations and everybody comes to you and at the end of the day, it's all about money, right? I mean, they'll tell you it's about, well, I like, you know, yellow walls and, you know, want a window I can see out of, but you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to money and we have a limited fund, and so you gotta try to divvy it up, and it's not easy, but big thing is that we carry through these negotiations with a positive tone and don't just get beat up by the negotiations themselves and try to carry, because we as a board set the tone in the building. And if we get beat up by the negotiations, then everybody does, and it doesn't get better, so. Carrying forward a good attitude on all these is a good thing, so.
We had a very positive experience.
Good. So when does that,
I'm willing to do that one again too.
Well, I can't tell you when they meet because it's,
well, like time of day, is it like? Usually during the day?
Yeah.
evening?
it depends.
It
can be
depends, but you
after.
can join like we have, you can join virtually. So I don't know if that makes a difference. Like there were somewhere I couldn't. I could meet virtually, but I couldn't physically get my,
We've done that quite a bit.
that worked perfectly fine.
I mean, I don't want to, who was on it last time? Was
I think it was right.
Don't worry,
Yeah, you can.
you can, you throw your name out before somebody else, you get it, boy.
well,
I prefer you guys to experience things
yeah,
and so.
okay, I'll do it.
I'll be the alternate.
I'm gonna motion to approve directors Hofstad and Boyd, and then Director Trout as an alternative to the non-union negotiation representatives.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H16, naming of teacher or REM negotiation committee representatives.
Director Hackett would like to do that.
I'll do that too.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Director Boyd, motion to approve Director Hackett and Director Roaring as teacher negotiation representatives. Motion was seconded by Director Trout. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All abstained, I abstain. But then abstains go with the approve, so motion carries 6-0. 7H17, naming of para or rest negotiation representatives. I can put myself on here. I've not done this one before, so here we go.
Yeah, Director Hackett would do that too.
You got it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve, Director Bauman and Hackett as para negotiation representatives was made by Director Boyd, seconded by Director Roaring. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H18, naming of secretaries or AFSCME negotiation representatives.
Director Hackett.
I can go.
Director Hofstad, you want in on that one?
I can go on that. Yeah, I'll go on that one.
I might abstain on that one.
Yeah, I figured.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right, motion to approve directors Hackett and Bauman as secretaries negotiation representative was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Boyd. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstained.
Aye.
Abstains go with the favor, motion carries.
I know I seem kind of late there.
But he was loud.
7H19, naming of principal negotiation representatives.
Roaring.
You can put me on that one too.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve directors Roaring and Hofstad as principal negotiation representatives was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. 7H20, naming of superintendent negotiation representatives. I'll throw my name on that one.
Victor Hackett can do that one too.
I have so much fun doing this contract negotiation.
We're gonna be pros. They're gonna hire us out.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve Directors Bauman and Hackett as superintendent negotiation representatives. Motion was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Trout. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. Gosh, that was the last one. All right, on to number 8, other organizational action items.
Chair, I'd like to get rid of daylight savings time.
We can go down to that legislation.
Oh, okay.
Right up there. We were just gonna do it. in
We're just gonna do it at
general.
Royalton. Yeah.
Royalton School. I believe we don't have any other items. Move on to number 9, the e-learning plan.
Okay, so I'm bringing this forward because, as we, this is our first year using the plan. Actually calling for an e-learning day. And, we put something in place and then we learn from it. And one thing that we're learning is the part under procedure for implementing an e-learning day. Says the official announcement of the e-learning day will occur by 9 p.m. the night prior to the e-learning day. That was problematic. Superintendents, when they call late starts, early releases, and snow days or cold days, generally are working together and having conversations, and not always, but generally do similar type actions. Now, there are a few districts in our area that do not have e-learning day plans and are not able to call them. By what happened the other night, nobody was making a decision. And so we're doing a late start in the morning, and I'm getting other reports that it's getting worse, and I wasn't able to call an e-learning day, even though the teachers had been alerted 2 days prior to reminding them, we do that as soon as we possibly can and remind often to take home technology, et cetera, in the event we can all call an e-learning day. So it was a stifling situation because we weren't able to do it. So I would like to delete that official announcement sentence off of there. So if it's a situation like that in the morning, I can still call it. What I have done is I've reached out to the teachers union president and talked with him about it. He surveyed the teachers. 97% of the teachers who responded voted yes, remove that 9 p.m. sentence. In addition, if you go down a little bit, we would like to that if a storm suddenly comes up, a snow day will be announced and no e-learning to take place. Storm occurs during the night or early morning. I mean, we can leave that in that second bullet, but nowadays it's getting rarer and rarer for it to come up that quickly in the middle of the night. Now, it could happen on a weekend where we don't have stuff taken home and things, that might happen there, but. I don't know, that bullet originally, I was thinking maybe we should remove it, but I don't know if we have to. So I'm coming to the board, if you guys, if you want to, we can do one of two things. We can, you can vote on it tonight, yea or nay, to remove that requirement. Or you can just discuss it tonight and I can bring it back to the January 23rd regular meeting to vote on it then. Or we can just table it. My only concern is waiting until January 23rd. If we have agreement to remove this, if we wait until January 23rd, I still could have a problem over the course of the next couple of weeks with that particular language item. So I'm open to discussion.
I would say I noticed other schools calling it the morning of, switching it to an e-learning day. I mean, whether or not families liked it, I don't know. I'm just saying, I know that other schools had done it that way.
The nice thing about the family piece is it really doesn't affect them to the same degree as it might the teacher. And what I mean by that is the child's at home, whether we call off school or it's an e-learning day, they're still at home. Or they have to find somewhere for that child to go. We wouldn't call an e-learning day if they can come to school. You know, coming to school is by far the most important thing that we would always want that to happen. It's only if they can't come to school. So
Yeah, we got the coldest part of winter coming, you know, it's.
I would like to remove that language. I think we haven't really had the opportunity to use the e-learning days like we were hoping to. I know that one day, the late start early dismissal should have been an e-learning day.
right,
but
I would have called it that morning if I could have.
Right, so I'd like to remove that language. I would have rather had my kids stay at home than that was a bad commute for them and
It was terrible that night, and I'll tell
it
you,
was terrible.
I did not want to do an early release, but here's what happened. Those, at 11 o'clock, the snow was there and it was late, the lakes were small. And that's what I kept getting reported, that's how it's gonna be all day, so I'm like, okay, we can make it till 3:15. And then they got bigger and it got heavier, and so I called transportation, I called our interim director as well as our other person who handles a lot of the mechanics along with driving. And he had been out, he goes out a lot of times and looks at things, and they're both like, we need to be able to drive in the daylight. It's so much better when you have tricky roads if it's light out.
Savings time thing again. Sam,
So we let out at 2:15 and the final driver didn't get in until 5 after 5. And generally our routes are done in 1 hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours at the very most. This was over 3 hours. Had we gone at 3:15, they would have been out till after 6 and it would have been dark. And so as much as that was a challenge for families, and I just felt for safety's sake, I had to do that, and I don't regret that decision. I more regret that I couldn't call the e-learning day in the morning and just had them all stay home. And the only reason I didn't call anything at night, it was because nobody was calling. St. Cloud, Sartell, Sauk Rapids, they ended up not calling anything until the morning, and they were getting worse predictions than we were here. So I was on the phone at 4:30 with the Little Falls superintendent, 4:30 in the morning, time of, you know, what are we gonna do here? Yep, I think we're gonna do late start. I think we can make it happen, you know, and Piers is in the same with us. They have e-learning days, but they have that 9 o'clock time frame, and that's a struggle, I think, is for them as well.
I would possibly throw out there as well how we had above the 9 AM line. To alert principal, staff and families of an e-learning day no later than 8 AM of the prior day. I think that should be moved to like 3 PM.
Yeah,
Because
I
if
agree.
you're sitting in class,
Yeah.
it's noon, okay, now the weather announcement's getting worse for tomorrow. You watch it another hour, it's getting worse. Well,
Right.
or before end of school day, because then one, staff's notified what they need to take home. Kids are notified what they need to take home.
Yeah.
Versus having, that's just like a really big gap, 8 AM the previous day.
Yeah,
Half the time you might even not even know.
Right, and I think when we first put this together, we didn't really know what this was gonna entail, and so when I can tell you, I've had reports from teachers and principals that the e-learning day that we did call, and remember. We called that one after a snow day, and the reason we had to call a snow day is because in this learning plan, the kids are guaranteed one snow day, right? So you have to have a snow day first.
So was that changed from one?
It was
Two to
two,
one?
yeah,
Okay.
correct. So, because you have to redo this every year. So we'll do another approval of this come August. So they had the snow day, and then we called the e-learning day, and they had been notified ahead of time, you may have an e-learning day, you may have an e-learning day, and I got reports that it went pretty well. It felt robust, they felt the students were doing the work. The work was good, they were feeling confident. However, I am gonna be going into both staff meetings on Wednesday morning I would like a team of teachers to come together and put together, what could this look like? What could an e-learning day look like the day before the winter break? Or the day coming back off a winter break, if we were to have inclement weather, could they pull off a really robust e-learning day? What does that look like? Knowing that at your elementary, we're not sending home devices for an entire winter break. That doesn't work well. And so they have to have alternatives. What could that look like? Let the creative people that do the work every day, I want to bring it up to them, say, can you make something happen? I think they can. It gives them an opportunity to look at some of that. The other thing I'm gonna have them start looking at is I'd like, I'm gonna call it a smorgasbord of professional learning opportunities that if we have to have a snow day, or it's a cold day, for example, well, we probably do an e-learning day for a cold day, but say it's a snow day that you can't get past, right? There's just no way to get here. Is there a way that teachers could do professional development? You'd have a tracking system so that you know that they did it, that would make up for a work day versus them tacking it on at the end of school day. So we have 5 days built into our calendar for students, so students don't have to make up, but teachers always make up because they have 183 days in their contract and that's the days they work. But could they do an professional development on that snow day versus waiting till the end of the year? Like we're doing for our 2 days we've taken so far this year, they'll be tacked on at the end of the year. So that I'm gonna be talking to them about as well, as what could they do, and then their schedule doesn't have to change.
I would be in favor of removing the language.
Okay.
I just wonder. We renew this every August.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't wait till August to start thinking about renewing it, because by the time August comes around, we forgot what we did.
Yeah.
Do we need to have a conversation of what works and what don't on these earlier than later? Maybe we should be reviewing this for approval in August before then,
Yeah.
after the winter season's over. And I just, by the time August comes, man, we don't even know what snow is, because it's whole 3 months that we have without snow, so.
I know, and I think this work of when I go to these staff meetings and have them put together, what does a really good, robust e-learning day look like? When I start to have them start doing some of that, I think we'll get at that. What do we do? How do we make this work?
I'm in a motion to approve. Removing the official announcement of e-learning by 9 PM the night prior to the e-learning day. Removing the storms occurs during the night or early morning lines, and then updating
To 3 PM
to 3 PM
from 8 AM.
for the e-learning day, no later than 3 PM of the prior day of the potential.
Do you want to change that to the end of the school day rather than 3 PM in case they want to call it before?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
Does that matter?
yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Should we remove those bullets too?
She said that.
The storms occur after 8 AM on the school, like those bullets, should we just take those out?
Yeah, I mean, they're just examples. I can remove them,
Right.
and just leave that sentence, just take the examples out and just leave the sentence of a storm, because we're gonna have, there's very much potential that we'd have a snow day, we can't make it happen.
Yep.
And we only get 5, and let me just clarify one other thing. We, in statute, we're only allowed 5 e-learning days, so if we were to have a 6th or a 7th snow day, we wouldn't be able to call them. I mean, we've already
It
used
has to
up
be
our
made
5.
up, right? It'd have to be made up, like if you couldn't get to school and you had to have a snow day.
I'd have to call it as a snow day. The teachers would, I just wouldn't, the students would depend on how many we'd have.
Unless we had a governor that actually would.
Well, and hopefully we'll get that changed, because we as districts are going to that, this legislative session saying, you have got, now we've learned so much more over these last few years. This is old legislation, like old, like 6, 7, 8 years old. I will tell you too, a few winters ago, it was really bad, more in the southern part of Minnesota, like Rochester area and Owatonna area, and I believe Owatonna had, I'm pretty sure they had like 8 snow days. And so the governor actually allowed them to not have to make them up because it was so many that they had. So sometimes that kind of thing happens too, where the legislature will work with you.
So since we're taking out the official announcement by 9 PM, do we want to put a time for the next morning or just leave it open?
Leave it open, because sometimes I can call that at 5 AM and sometimes I might not be able to call it until 6:30 if
Okay.
I do my bet. We're up at 4,
Right.
starting these conversations, and we're still have them 10 the night before, but I don't want to put myself in too much of a box on the time, I think. It's nice when you get it done the night before. It really is, because once you know what you're gonna do the next day, everyone feels better, myself included. So I even thought about that. I thought, next time if if the exact same thing happened, what happened last week were to happen again, I almost think I might just be the only one to call it. That's how I feel now.
Well, I think as long as families are prepped, I mean, we were ready,
Yeah,
I think as long as families know it can occur and students have their items.
right.
Have we ever taken poll from the parents or in the community of what their stance is on e-learning days, if they're for e-learning days versus snow days? Have we ever gleaned that information from the actual family members? I know you've mentioned teachers and staff a few times. Where they
I
stand.
don't know that I've surveyed exactly.
I think Yeah, I think, because we do an e-learning day before COVID.
No, not in this district.
I don't think so.
Other districts had, because
We
like I
did-
said, this is.
we did
older
some-
legislation.
Did some surveys COVID time, but
Right. What the
that
distance, I mean,
doesn't count for this. That's
Sure.
not the same thing.
Yeah, distance learning is different than.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
not
this-
the same.
Right, this is asynchronous work, it's not,
It wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's easy enough to do a poll like that, just to see what people think of it, if they like that. I mean, I can say, us as a family, we like it, having the e-learning sporadically, not, distance learning was.
no, it's
Right,
a
that's,
different thing, But the e-learning ones, here or there has been good for us.
yeah. Now I have talked to students, some students, and I got various. Oh my gosh, e-learning is the bomb. Can we have this every day? No.
And they would
Then-
say that after 3 of them.
Exactly. Then I got, can't you have a snow day? I'm building a snowman. So then, of course, I get pictures of the snowman that's as tall as the house. And then so it's all varied when it comes to students. It was kind of funny because then they're like, we need to have the day because we're gonna fall on the ice. If we walk on the parking lot, I like wear better shoes. So it's just kind of fun with the kids. I think as long as it's a decent plan for them, they are okay. But I haven't talked with parents that I don't know that we've surveyed parents with this, because legislation requires that the teachers are the ones that weigh in on that. And we did our due diligence with that. That's why I went to them before I ever came here, even with this change. But yeah, we can talk to parents, and I think maybe what we could do is just let the winter go. See, because we only had one e-learning day, so if we have another one and then just say, okay, now you've had a couple of times, and or give our teachers opportunity for when I meet with them on Wednesday, that what might they come up with that could be pretty unique. Some districts do service learning opportunities where they'll have like a smorgasbord, I come back to that word, but a choice, like a bingo card of, and the kids can choose, like what service learning project might you have for that? And that might be like shoveling your neighbor's sidewalk or something like that. There's just other opportunities where they're serving others as part of that. And that kind of aligns the strategic plan. I think it was Pequot Lakes, I think, has something like that. So we're gonna have, I just really think if teachers can start doing more of the creative side of this, I think we'll have opportunities for some pretty cool stuff.
I think if we gleaned all this information at the end of this season, testing out these e-learning days, like Randy was saying, closer to the spring, and I mean.
Yeah,
I
do like an
guess
evaluation.
when you want to discuss this in April and May,
Post-trauma, post-trauma winter thing.
Yeah.
right, kind of assess it after and then get the opinions of all the people that are affected. Then we could really iron out the kinks, I think.
One of the groups that we haven't talked about is be the bus drivers.
Yeah, and we do need to talk, I was just thinking of them, that's funny, because we do need to talk about
Because
drivers.
just when you say that, then all of a sudden that, because there's hourly employees too that, if we call an e-learning day, they don't get a chance to make that up, so.
Nor do they.
Nor would they have snow days.
Nor would they have snow day, but other than we couldn't make that up at the end of the year, maybe.
But they don't.
They-
Just.
Well, if the kids are here.
Well,
If
yeah,
if
the
we bring
kids
the
not.
kids here, there is a chance, so. Then we're just conversations that we need to,
But I will say, the bus drivers are a very important group, and why I say that is because if you live in town. Your lens of what's happening is very different than when you're living in the rural area where township roads and such are the last to get plowed, and they're the ones that understand that, and. They understand how buses function, which are different. So what the windshield of a bus is straight up and down, and so when that freezing, when your wipers are going, it collects that freezing. Condensation much different than what normal vehicle windshields, which causes trouble. So they oftentimes lose wipers and we have to run wipers out to them. Because of the bus itself, the physical bus, so they are an important group to talk with and see what their stance is, because. When the early release, I was on the phone with Paul and June and they're like, we gotta do this on the side of safety. Call it.
And that driving during the day is very important.
Yes, that daylight, night and day, they kept saying which is also why we do the late starts.
Yeah.
Because then they get in, it's daylight,
we should just make it light longer.
Get right on that.
We just wanted to get light longer.
Once you tilt the earth.
Yeah, we did that. I moved that up.
There is a motion out there. I don't know if we.
I'll second it.
All right, so motion to approve updates to the e-learning plan was made by Director Bauman, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried 6-0. Wonderful. Number 10, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Great. Motion to adjourn was made by Director Roaring, seconded by Director Hackett. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining, motion carries 6-0. Meeting was adjourned